Hello, everyone. Welcome to Locast. This is the first episode. Welcome to Locast. This is the podcast where every episode is in a new location. And the name, I call it Locast because we're casting locations, and the second thing for cast is because it's a podcast.
Yeah.
See what I did there? Don't mock me because of my jokes. If you do, go away.
Don't watch the podcast.
Don't. Okay. Yeah, I have Julian here with me.
No.
Zusilis. If you want to check him out on Twitch or something. I don't know. So, yeah, the first topic, consumerism.
Yay.
Okay, so in today's modern culture, there's a lot of inventions in our era, and some of them, like the smartphone, are amazing because you can
almost do exactly whatever you want.
Because it can give you instant communication with anyone you meet in almost an instant.
It gives you almost unlimited knowledge to what has been published online, or even just...
It could just give... it gives you information...
at the click of a button.
On any topic due to the internet. Which, that had almost nothing to do with the topic, but...
Example.
Kind of. Yeah, it's an example, because people buy smartphone after smartphone day after day.
Smartphone prices are going way up for...
Yeah, I paid like $10 for my first flip phone.
Yeah, no, my first phone was about
and the one I have
$10.
now is like $800.
Yeah.
Which, thank God for those 2-in-1 deals. Thank you, mother. Okay, so, yeah. But consumerism is basically just the act of buying, which... Because, yeah, what we just talked about. People, when a company brings out a new product...
People are drawn to the product for whatever reason.
Because it's supposedly better than the last one.
It's effectively like...
And consumerism is just, like, feeling... It gives you, like, this fake feeling of happiness, because you just bought something new, and you're like, I did that all by myself. And now there's online shopping, which makes it so much worse.
You can literally... You can use what you bought as a consumer to go and be a bigger consumer online.
Yeah, because yeah. And it all started with that one company, I think it was called, like, something cuts, I don't know. This is dragging on for too long. I forgot what it was, but it was like Wells and Cuts or something. But it had like a catalog, and then it mailed it to you by train.
And you could shop, and people would bring you said items.
It's like anything: a house, a car, a bike, Transformer. Not Transformer. Transformers didn't exist back then.
You could buy tools.
You could buy anything in that catalog.
So they just boosted their own. They boosted their own market effectively by transporting. They transported over distance to people who weren't in the same area as them. So they spread out their catalogs.
Yeah, that was like effectively the first shipping company for catalog shopping. And then the internet came around just like 10 or 20 years later. And then Amazon happened, which...
Everyone likes Amazon because they give you stuff.
Yeah. And for consumerism, people think that more products are better because of the company.
Yeah, more products are better, or that better products are better.
It might also just be because the people that know that company Because most of the time they grew up with that company. It's
Yeah.
like permanently drilled into their brain.
Like you could take into Hasbro.
Like
They started making toys in the 90s, and now
like
they're
Xbox and PS4. Like people are very
drawn.
very biased because they grew up with it and they have good feelings about it.
Consumerism can be boosted by your want of a specific company or your familiarity with that company. You could be drawn to buy more products from that company just by something else being better or being worse. You want to stick with the company because that's what you knew, and that's how they help boost your.
Yeah.
It's how they boost their company, or how they bring in most of their income.
Oh, right. Hang on. I got a Diet Coke right here. This is not sponsored, I swear. Especially with Coke and like Pepsi or Dr. Pepper. Like, I grew up with Coca-Cola, and I'm like, Dr. Pepper, eh.
You're more biased.
People used it. People use it for memes, and then I tasted Dr. Pepper for the first time, and I'm like, that's a weird taste. And then I got into other branding companies, like not really ripoffs, but they almost have the same name and the same product.
Brand, like Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Thunder and Dr. Dazzle are the ones. Those are really good. Those are really good pops. Like those are really good. And people don't really buy them because they see them as ripoffs. But
they want to stick as a consumer to a specific company.
But like the soda industry, just in general, cannot be copyrighted because it's not creative enough. It's not original enough.
You can literally just put Coke.
It's just food.
You can put Coke into a bottle, name it whatever you want, and then ship it out.
Well, that's different because the recipe is original.
You could change the recipe as much as you want. It tastes the same.
Because soda's in the label of food, and food is an entire industry that you cannot copyright because there's so many variations.
So many variations. There's so much variety.
So much diversity.
You can literally go out and make your own restaurant. Let's just say you open up your own restaurant. You can anything in there.
Yeah, Burger King ripped off McDonald's. It's fast food. One sells burgers, the other also sells burgers, but they sell more than burgers. And so does Burger King. That doesn't necessarily mean one ripped off the other. They just had the same ideas.
You can have the same idea. Let's say someone in America invents something that they want to sell. Someone in Europe sells something invents something they want to sell. They can invent the same thing. They can have the same exact idea, and not a lot of people will know. They'll just know, I bought this from this person.
And then someone flies over to America from Europe, and they're like, "Oh, that's stealing." That doesn't necessarily mean it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They just happen to have I discovered this in 4th grade. The first time I've ever even heard the word copyright. I was in 4th grade. We had to make original stories, and I made a superhero story about me and my friends. About a big meteor. I can't remember it. That'll probably be a separate video or something. But I made that story, and then I'm like, the teacher said that we have to proofread each other's things, and I was so proud of mine. I'm like, hey guys, look over here. I came up with a cool superhero story.
And somebody else came up with.
No. And then when one of them read it, just because I called my superhero team the Frightful Four because they didn't have any fright. Now I'm looking at that and I'm seeing, hey, that name doesn't make sense. They're supposed to have no fear. But I think the original thing was putting fear in the hearts of the villains, like Batman or something. Yeah. But I had the superhero team, the Frightful Four. And then that student came along and it's like, hey, the Frightful Four is already a thing. So I Googled it with Yahoo. Yes, Yahoo. The best way to Google something.
Listen.
Yeah, I googled it, and it turns out Marvel already had a supervillain team with the name The Frightful Four, with the Wizard, Dragon Man, uh, Claw, and the Trapster.
Yeah.
I didn't know they existed. That was the first time I've heard of that
But
supervillain team.
yeah, and you could do the same with if a big company makes something huge and you live under a rock or you live out in where nobody else is living effectively. If you live out in the middle of nowhere and you come up with a big idea and you take it to the city and you start selling it, and
Why are we talking about copywriting ripoffs? We've been on this for like 5 to 10 minutes. We have 5 more minutes for this topic. But yeah, consumerism, the act of buying, especially in the relevance of giving gifts.
mm-hmm.
Like consumerism has consumed modern culture so much that it's basically become the act of gift giving.
Effectively, yeah. One company publishes something.
Like birthdays in the show Luke and Laura, in one of the episodes, it's Luke's daughter's like birthday, and he walks out of a cat store, and Laura walks up and he's like, "Hey, what you got there? What's in the bag?" And then he shows her the gift, and it's a little pair of oven mittens, but like kitten oven mittens.
Yeah.
It's like shaped like a cat. And then Laura's like, "Hey, that's not cool. That's a crappy gift." Because people have this moral obligation to gift giving. So if it's not good enough in another person's eyes, then what's the point? Like, Luke even addresses this in the episode. He's like, "I don't see what's the point." Like,
if other people don't like it, why do you
it's like,
think
isn't
the
it
person will like
isn't it the thought that counts? Like, I can't show my affection with a gift. I think it's dumb. This is also in the movie Santa Claus 3, because in that movie, Jack Frost, he takes over as Santa, and in like 10 to 20 years, he turns the North Pole into this huge amusement park. And the slogan of the park, I am pretty sure I am quoting this. The park's intercom tells the children that the only way the parents can express the amount that they love their children is how expensive the gift is.
Oh no. Yeah.
That is not...
That's not how that works. It's like if you go out and buy something and someone does it, if 49 out of 50 people don't like it and one person thinks, "Man, this is super awesome. I appreciate that." And you go, "Maybe I shouldn't buy that for that person because the the other amount of people, the other percentage of people doesn't think it's good, doesn't think it's a good gift." Like, for example, kids in Africa, whenever you give them a soccer ball, they treat that soccer ball as if it is the coolest thing they have ever been given.
Well, kids in Africa is pretty... It's pretty general. I meant... Do you mean like poor countries or just...
like poor, like third world countries.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you can also give them like a piece of wheat. Not a piece. A piece would be pretty demeaning.
Yeah. But if you give someone...
You can give them like a fully cooked turkey or something. Or like an entire cooked gazelle. And they'd still love it to pieces because
They don't have that. They don't have
them.
that amount.
Like, you still helped them.
Yeah.
Whether it's entertainment or feeding the community, it's still helping out.
But if you give someone a turkey in a first world country where
like, oh, thanks,
almost everyone has it, they're
like,
gonna be
oh,
like,
thanks for the turkey. Now I don't have to cook one.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, effectively. You can give a turkey to a neighbor and they'll be like, "Oh, cool, thanks for dinner." But in a third world country, they'll treat it like it's a gourmet dish you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, another example would be like especially during Christmas times.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially in The Grinch Who Stole Christmas and that one episode of The Big Bang Theory, yada yada yada, Christmas has become essentially for little children who haven't understood the act of family yet, who also haven't seen this movie. Sorry, who haven't seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas. A lot of them won't really understand the message that
It's not the act of gift giving that makes Christmas Christmas.
it's not the act of gift giving. It's gifts in general. Christmas isn't about gifts. Christmas is a holiday to celebrate family and the ones that you care for.
Yeah, it's not a oh thanks for the toy, Mom. I love you so much.
Well,
It's
well,
thanks for giving birth to me, Mom.
well,
That's the gift, the gift of life.
what you just said could also be taken. It's like, oh, thanks for the gift, Mom. I love you so much.
Yeah,
Like that could also be taken as affection.
it could.
But I think you're trying to say like, hey, give me that toy. Give me that toy,
this.
Mama.
Yeah, it's not the act of gift buying that symbolizes what Christmas is about. It's just something that helps. If you want to show your affection while giving someone a gift, then that's one thing. But if that's what Christmas is put out to be,
that's a good thing for Christmas. Because
yeah.
Christmas is about affection. Christmas isn't about gifts or birthdays. They're not about gifts. They're about love and affection and family.
But also think what the impact of Christmas has on consumerism.
Also, another like branch of consumerism isn't just gifts or physical objects. It's especially in Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is it's almost a perfect example of consumerism because, well, not almost perfect example, but
It is a good
it's
example.
about physical objects like food. People resonate Thanksgiving with large amounts of food and eating your like half your body's worth.
Yeah,
That's not what Thanksgiving was meant to be. They just had a really big feast.
And that's what people took it for. And then big marketing companies said, hey, we could profit off of that.
It's like, oh yeah, it's all about food. It's all about food. They had a feast, so that means it's all about food. No, Thanksgiving was the pilgrims. They're like, hey, we're your new neighbors. We're new here. If you tell us how to survive and live here, then that'll be great. And then the Native American were like, we can, but you gotta do something for us in return. And they're like, hey, what is it? Yeah, you gotta kill another tribe for us. It's like, oh yeah, we can do that. And then they're like, hey, stick them up. And then just like massacre that whole village.
And then as thanks, they
had like a big feast
to
show their relation. It's like Thanksgiving isn't about food. Thanksgiving is it's about brotherhood.
Yeah, Thanksgiving about food is just what big marketing companies have put into. It's what they've put Thanksgiving as. It's just really just a way to boost profiting sales for yourself.
And that's basically just consumerism.
Yeah, it's basically consumerism.
Like Thanksgiving isn't about brotherhood. It's about brotherhood. It's about helping one another. It's to give thanks for what you have done to help others.
And what you have. But big marketing companies said, hey, the consumers like food. They need food. Let's boost product sales on Thanksgiving for food. If people think that Thanksgiving's about food, then they'll go out and they'll buy a lot of food, and we get profit off of that. That's effectively consumerism.
Yeah, consumerism. So, in conclusion, the thesis that we have presented here today for you is consumerism has it consumed modern culture? Yes.
Completely.
Yes, it is. Especially in first world countries. Alright, next topic.
Ah.
I can edit that part out. We can say whatever we want. Alright, topic B. Halloween.
Oh no.
Halloween. Okay, so
Halloween is actually another good example for consumerism.
well, that's the other topic. What I meant by Halloween, I've got it written here, like now. It's the history of Halloween. What has today's culture turned Halloween into?
Halloween today
in
is
contrast of what it has been. Because originally Halloween, it was
a tradition to effectively, what I've heard it as is it was like
wasn't it like in Ireland was where Halloween originated, which no one gives props to Ireland for.
props to Ireland.
Yeah, thanks Ireland
For inventing
for
Halloween.
the second biggest holiday ever. Man, Ireland needs more credit. But Halloween, originally, it was supposed to be the passing, or
evil spirits,
or the peaceful passing of good spirits, and the bad passing of not good spirits.
It's kind of like Witch's Night from Germany.
And so they put like masks on to taunt the ones who didn't make it and to scare them because of their sins. Because around this time, like Christianity
was a big thing
or just the church in general had a huge influence on Ireland.
The Catholic and Protestant church.
Catholicism? Yeah, but the Catholic Church had a huge influence on Ireland. So they turned the tradition of peaceful passing of souls into an entire new holiday. So they paraded masks around, like animal masks,
to effectively scare the evil spirits
or just taunt them.
In Germany, I remember this. There was, after Halloween, you'd have Witch's Night in the spring. It would effectively, everyone would dress up like Halloween, and they'd scare the witch spirits back into the mountains.
Oh yeah,
after winter was over.
Oh yeah, because Ireland was a part of the UK, wasn't it?
It is a part of the UK.
Well, it was back in those days. They just took over Ireland.
Yeah.
And that's why Irish people went over to, holy, what is that? Okay.
That's kind of creepy.
I'm looking at old Halloween masks right now, and I'm saying, hey, what the heck? These are creepy. These are really scary.
Those are like...
These are some of the oldest Halloween masks ever.
They're not even that, like, sophisticated. They're just, like, cloths over their heads.
Or, like, weird animal skins or something.
That's weird.
I'm guessing people found that as scary, and
I find that as scary.
Like, look at this.
Oh.
What is that? I want to burn that thing.
That's a child.
And then when Ireland and Germany, when they came up... Yes. Yeah, and then when Ireland and Germany came over to the U.S., they shared their cultures when America was free of oppression by England in the Revolution, or whatever it's called.
The English Revolution.
And then they started wearing the masks. And yeah, they also went around throwing flowers and candy on the corpses to taunt them, and the candy for peaceful passings.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what Ireland was. not. That's essentially what Halloween was, but now it's turned into this huge. It's turned into this huge,
Holiday
like just candy, just filled with candy and scary movies.
costumes.
Like it wasn't Halloween wasn't supposed to be scary to begin with. It was supposed to celebrate the pastful piecing of the good souls and the torment of the bad ones.
Yeah. But nowadays it's being pushed as everyone needs to buy candy, and
It's just
everyone,
candy and horror movies.
yeah, everyone needs to watch horror movies.
I think it's
Spooktober. Spooktober is what it's called.
Like
where everyone watches horror movies.
I think it's mostly just America, because America didn't really understand all of it.
Yeah.
When Ireland and Germany and English folk, when they came over,
America is like the jumbled. It's like
It's-
all the cultures jumbled
it's
together.
it's a giant melting pot, but it's also a boiling melting pot, so things can get messy really quick.
Uh-huh.
Because, of course, in chemistry, if you have a melting pot or something, they're gonna clash.
Mm-hmm. Like two elements, put them together.
Like
they clash.
like alkali metals and water. Like those explode. That's a future video.
Wet river rocks in the in a fire.
No, the alkali metals
Yeah,
in water.
when they explode.
Put them in a bathtub or something.
No.
It could be the passing of the Great Kiddie Pool.
Oh.
But yeah. So, in conclusion, Halloween has turned into
Big consumers.
a candy-filled horror fest.
Because America doesn't know what it's doing.
Yep. I don't know if this is going to be loud enough to understand. I hope so. I guess, thank you for watching this podcast. This is also a school assignment, so give me an A, please.
Bye.
Ugh,
Good conclusion.
yeah.
Awkward silence.
This is pretty awkward.